In this video, I will talk about 10 points that are also at the core of the disagreement. I do believe that all of these points refer to the other ones, if you work the angles. And I do think society needs this spelled out to them, so here they are. Number one, the point of reception and the resulting flow. Mind, body, soul, the point of reception up to the spirit, right? And the resulting flow versus balance and blurring the point of balance, right? So they blur the point of balance by using the word balance, okay? Which I can balance myself by waving my hand or something, doing in motion and so on and so forth, right? There's more than one way to balance yourself, but there's only one point of reception to the spirit and the resulting flow. Number two, the nature of God, genetics, and heroism. Is God someone who is all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-good, who will not reward the children of evil men, who evil people have allowed to usurp the bloodline of God's chosen? Or is he all-good, all-knowing, and all-powerful? And if he is, then to be one with him, we must strive to be all-good. We can't be all-knowing, we can't be all-powerful, but we can try our best to be all-good. Number three, science and wordplay, right? Language, right? Versus martial arts explanations. So is the scientist somebody who is supposed to tell us about God, right? Integrated martial sciences, the New Age and Masonry and so on and so forth, the scientific lodge and so on and so forth, right? Or are they people who are out of touch, who are immersed in science, and that is not the same as being immersed in nature and being one with God in the point of reception? They are not cultivating the point of reception, but rather they are breaking down science and reason, and quite often disingenuously, I might add. Number four, the principles of good. The absence of God would not change my behavior. I'm going to use an example that is quite disturbing, but it needs to be made. If we existed on in a place where there was a field and 100 virgins were raped, killed, and chopped up in that field by 1,000 crooks, and then I'm alive with my father, my mother, my wife, and one kid. And they say to me, we're going to chop up these people and play catch with their private parts while cussing out God, okay? And any righteous people that may have lived before us, as well as you. And if you don't join us, we are going to torture you and your family to death. And I believe that there was no God, that there's no God. I would choose to let myself be tortured. I will not make a mockery of this thing. I will not find life in a world that is on the trajectory of only breeding with people who have found it acceptable to defy God. That is cut off, right? Not to mention the despicable nature of who these people are, what they're doing and why, and who is left over. How can I find enjoyment and fulfillment in a world full of these people who have done this thing in a way that there's no point, there's no way to repent, okay? How can I value my family's further existence? It is time to die, even if I'm going to be tortured. How can I let them live, right? It is not acceptable or right to continue. And if I find that it is preferable to exist in a state of evil than not to exist, then that is sick. And I'm going to hold my family to that same standard as well as everyone else. I don't think I explained that perfectly. We'll explore it more in the comments if you want. But the point is the principles of good, okay? Do not rely on the presence of God for one to come to my conclusions. That is one of the, number four, another place where we disagree. Number five, The acceptability of life and the value that is placed on the flesh of your family and your fellow man. Okay, this goes back to the argument I just made. Is it acceptable? Right? Can I accept life under those terms? No. No, because they have raped and killed these innocent people. Nothing but wicked people are around. And if I allow my family and myself to be part of this, then I have given them over to a wicked existence, and I would rather die. It is greater to die for the principles of good than for one's country. If one can die for the flesh of their family or their nation or their race, why wouldn't one die for something greater than all of these things combined, which is the principles of good? Not to mention the continuity. If they're doing the right thing, they're in the spiritual realm. I can connect to them anytime I want on a more profound and important level than in the flesh. So therefore, I do not place the same value on the flesh of my family, but on the spirit that I can connect to. The true memory of them as a righteous sacrifice or a righteous person. Even if they are not as righteous as I am. If they honestly think that they can get to me by killing them, okay, and it is a logical conclusion, then they have been placed among the righteous, like my grandmother, my uncle, and my aunt, who was shot dead in a power struggle in the Igbo tribe, almost certainly as a result of my videos and the New World Order's trying to pressure me and trying to control the Igbos. Number 6, to stop at nothing to restore the divine natural inheritance, which is the divine order, the intangible heritage, the natural inheritance of the continuity of the generational spear. Remember the Zulu, the people of Zulu means heaven, right? Igbo backwards is Obi, the eye of the Ba, the soul. Igbo, Obi, king, heart, hot, temple, right? Let the temple go to waste. It is the spirit that you are conserving, right? The builders might value the temple over the spirit, but certainly not the martial art, who's a spirit warrior. He is protecting the spirit, not the building or the flesh. So to stop at nothing to restore the divine natural inheritance through sparring, spirit, martial arts order. In a battle, one might win by chance and kill a greater warrior. But if we do 10 exchanges in sparring, we have increased the chances at least that the best man has won. And the more he wins by a great margin, like I did in my martial arts challenge, pretty much flawless victories every time, except for 1 and maybe 2, okay? We see that this guy truly is the greater martial artist, with all due respect. Number 7, whether one should bother to live and act in solidarity with the most moral and upright, and who they are. Certainly, at this point, we have to look at history. Narmer almost certainly was among them, right? There were righteous Igbo warriors of old. There are righteous people from every race of old. Even if you break it down in terms of race, who was the most morally upright? They were almost certainly all martial artists. When we look at the most, right? They chose the idea of a human system to perfect themselves, which has come to be known as martial arts, which is ordering things. Order yourself, mind, body, and soul. Help order your society. These were the most righteous people of every race. So when we look at this, right, this is part of the disagreement in terms of behavior, if for nothing else. They're behaving as if they don't concede my point. And that leads me to number 8, playing stupid. Playing stupid in terms of behavior, who you marry, who you work for, where you go to pray, how you live your life, right? If you play stupid to the point where that's how you're living your life, it is stupid. If I'm being questioned by a bunch of people after living my life, serving, trying to restore the divine order, loyal to Pharaoh and God and so on and so forth, okay? The true Pharaoh, mind you, Haro Aries, the true principles of what it means to be a Pharaoh, the true bloodline, etc. If I am doing that and somebody says, hey, is this the way to go kill the Pharaoh? And I go, I don't know. It's not the same thing. I'll leave it to you to figure out why that is. I don't want to make this video too long. Number 9. God as a God of true righteous indignation that is focused and displayed through sparring and applicable demonstrations. Like my 15 hits with sparring gloves on in 1.2 to 1.4 seconds. Hard to count. It's somewhere around 15 hits from Deontay Wilder boxing range. And sometimes when I pause it, it seems my elbow's slightly bent, which perhaps could be for the purpose of not injuring my joints as I throw these super fast moves. Okay. Now the last one I'm going to throw in there real quickly, and of course these aren't the only principles, but from any one of these points, you can get all the other ones when you work the angles. Remember, angels work angles. Yellow, white, and blue, right? The colors that the sun appears to be to the naked eye, which is more relevant than the scientific breaking down of it because it's the natural memory, right? The generational memory, if you will, the spiritual memory, the natural and the supernatural, the man and the superman, and so on.